Congratulations to you too. Wow. Almost forgot you. Like the umpteenth time.
All right, welcome everyone. The Board of Education meeting is called to order. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Colleagues, we're now going to move on to the, roll call. Secretary Jocelyn?
All members are here.
That's good to hear. I haven't heard that in 2 years.
Right, excellent. Colleagues, now we are moving on to the approval of the agenda. So colleagues, unless there are any objections this evening, the agenda will be approved as printed. Okay. Very good. We're now going to move on to a very exciting agenda item. We're now going to move on to the oath of office for newly elected members. And we're going to welcome up here Mr. Judge Kuhn, your honorable judge. John Paul Torres, Rob Petrucia, and Pat Donahue. Yeah. This evening, we are pleased to welcome the Honorable Judge Kuhn to administer the oath of office for our newly elected members, Mr. Robert Petrusha, Mr. Pat Donahue, and Mr. John Paul Torres. Judge Kuhn, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for the invitation. Gentlemen, are you ready? Deep breaths. Would you kindly raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Michigan.
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
member of the Board of Education of the Waterford School District.
member of the Board of Education of Waterford School District
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Lots of great things happening in the Waterford School District, and we're excited to have Mr. Petrusha, Mr. Donahue, and Mr. Torres on the team. So welcome, welcome, and congratulations. Okay, colleagues, we're now going to move on to public comments on action items. So these are things that we will be voting on tonight. And I have a couple of green cards here in front of me, and it looks like we're going to take these comments a little bit later in the agenda on non-action items. So thank you. With that said, is there anyone who would like to address the board this evening on action items, so things that we will be voting on this evening? Okay, excellent. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're now going to move on to our Board of Education organization. We're going to begin with a shortish presentation here. This is our organizational meeting. So as the organizational meeting early in the year, this is where we elect board officers, we reaffirm our board norms, we appoint members to our various community committees, and because it's also in our bylaws to supply a new member orientation, we want to make sure that we get that in. It's also Board Appreciation Month, and we want to make sure that our community has a sort of understanding of the role of the board and the role of the administration. So we're going to have a little bit of a review here for our members, and maybe a little bit of a primer and introduction for a couple of our other members. So we'll sort of move on here. So our District Board of Education organizational meeting, we're going to begin, of course, with our vision, our mission: inspired, educated, and empowered to thrive. Now, I can't click on this link. This is a link to, of course, our strategic plan. And you'll be able to see the abridged version of the strategic plan in this folder, which Megan so kindly put together for us. But more or less wanted to cover a couple things when it came to our strategic plan. This was a robust, long process. We contracted with the Michigan Association of School Boards, lots of stakeholder focus groups. Much of that work culminated in a day-long workshop over at Kettering with stakeholders from our parent community, our students, board members, teachers, administrators, staff. So it was a really diverse group, lots of input, and we came out with the strategic plan that you see in front of you. Here are some of our goal areas, and here's our mission. It wouldn't surprise you to know that our mission here is to provide exemplary educational experiences for each student to thrive. As we did that, some of our strategic goal areas, these are things where we're investing. We're thinking hard about how are we going to provide that exemplary educational experience to our students? Well, by focusing on these areas. Our academic programs, personnel and leadership, operations, our communications and community outreach, and our learning environment and culture. And so through the last 2 years, we've made investments in these. And in fact, Superintendent Lindbergh, in our yearly goal-setting meeting with him, provides us goals and updates as it relates to these strategic goal areas.
Consequently, as a strategic plan, this is our roadmap. As the Board of Education, our investments and decisions are driven by our vision, mission, and goals. Indeed, when we deliberate, we have to think about the things that, the decisions and how they're going to advance our vision and mission and make sure that we are providing exemplary educational experiences for our students. I wish I could have been able to pull up the sort of broader presentation, but again, you have the abridged one in front of you. And again, as we go through the next year, we know that we come back to this often. So in February, when we do meet with MASB and then meet with Superintendent Lindbergh to set some goals for the year, this will be our focal point. So strategic plan, some of us are really familiar with it, and everyone else, by the end of the next couple months, I'm sure will also be really familiar with our strategic plan. So, any questions about our strategic plan? Okay. All right. So, a couple slides here about our board processes, policies, and procedures. So, it's our organizational meeting. We've got important work this year, and we have a lot of momentum to sustain. And because this is our organizational meeting, we want to make sure that we're clear on the work of the WSD Board of Education. I mentioned a little bit already, this per our bylaws, does count as our new member orientation. It's Board Appreciation Month. It's our organizational meeting. And some of this is also going to help make sure that the Board of Education contributes to student success in all the ways that it can. So this is a little primer or review of Michigan compiled law as it relates to school boards. So you look at Michigan compiled law, and here are a couple interesting passages as it relates to the work of the school board. So a general power school district has all the rights, powers, and duties expressly stated in this act. May exercise a power implied or incident to a power expressly stated in this act, and except as otherwise provided by law, may exercise a power incidental or appropriate to the performance of a function related to the operation of a public school and the provision of public ed services in the interests of public elementary and secondary elementary in the school district. Included, but not limited to all of the following. So what do school boards do? No surprise here. Whoops. They educate pupils. They provide for the safety and welfare of pupils while at school and school-sponsored activities, or while en route to or from a school or from a school-sponsored activities. Except as otherwise provided in this section, acquiring, constructing, maintaining, repairing, renovating, disposing of, or conveying school property school property, facilities, equipment, technology, or furnishings. A couple other things here. We have in these couple bullet points, except as otherwise stated, acquiring, constructing, maintaining, repairing, renovating, school property, facilities, equipment, technology, or furnishings. I think it's repeat. Hiring, contracting for, scheduling, supervising, or terminating employees, independent contractors, and others, but not limited to another school district or ISD to carry out other school districts' powers. Receiving, accounting for, investing, or expending public school money, borrowing money, using money. I'm going to get to the important thing here in a second. A general power school district may enter into agreements, contracts, or other cooperative arrangements with other entities, public or private, including but not limited to another school district or ISD, joint organizations, an agreement, contract, or other cooperative arrangement that is entered into under this act is not required to comply with the provisions under the Urban Cooperation Act. So, here we go. It's a corporate body, and they shall be governed by a school board. So we know that public school systems are going to be governed by public school boards. An act of a school board is not valid unless approved at a meeting of the school board by a majority vote of the members lawfully serving on the board. The Board of Education, the Board of a General Power School District shall adopt bylaws. We have bylaws. So I want to talk about a couple things here. So not only do we have Michigan compiled law, we have our own board policies, and I know that a lot of us are familiar with these. And these spell out the parameters for board action. So we have the law, we have things that we're required to do, and we have policies which set the parameters for how we do that work. So after reading this, you might be like, wow, the Board of Education does it all. They do everything. But we take a look at our board policies. Board of Educations don't do it all. know. Board of Educations, we must abide by the following: federal law, state law, local law, board policies, and Roberts rules. And under state law is the Open Meetings Act, which we always comply with. And then there's this important piece of policy. The Board of Education vests the primary responsibility for administration of this district in the superintendent of schools. The appointment of that officer is therefore one of the most important functions the board can perform. So it's important in this context, as a good reminder for all of us, that Michigan compiled law gives us a lot of powers, and then under our own policies, we give that power to the superintendent. Now that's important. That's important for us to know. So here are more policies. The Board of Education believes that in general, it is the primary duty of the board to establish policies, and that of the superintendent to administer such policies. Policy should not be originated or changed without discussing it with the board. The superintendent should be given the latitude to determine the best method of implementing the policies of the board. Secondly, the superintendent, as the chief administrative officer of the school district, is the primary professional advisor to the board. They are responsible for developing supervision and operation of school programs. Their methods should be known to the staff through the administrative guidelines of the district. The board shall retain oversight, supervision of such administrative guidelines. Again, in making the distinctions between board role and administrative role, we have here the superintendent and the administrators directed by the superintendent, the cabinet, shall attend all meetings when feasible. Administrative participation shall be by professional counsel, guidance, and recommendation as distinct from deliberation, debate, and voting of members. So right there in that policy, we see pretty distinctly the role of the administration and the role of boards. So in order to expedite the negotiation process, the superintendent is appointed as chief representative for the board for the purpose of determining negotiation strategies. So the superintendent, by our policy, is given the power to negotiate on our behalf. The board is responsible for determining the success of the superintendent in meeting the goals established by the board through annual evaluations of the superintendent's performance. So this isn't just a board policy, this is law. We meet with superintendent annually, to outline goals, to make sure that he has the support to work towards those goals. And then at the end of the year, we evaluate the superintendent's progress towards those goals. So in just taking a look at Michigan compiled law, our board policies, one thing that we all, and again, I know many of us are familiar with this up here, but the board and the superintendent have distinct roles and responsibilities. And it's important to observe those distinct roles and responsibilities. Again, we don't want an electrician doing the plumbing and the plumbing doing the electrical work. So a couple things here. So this is a quote from a MASB article. So a school's primary responsibility is to oversee the education of the students in its district. Individual board members work together in order to reach decisions that have a lasting impact. These decisions are generally broad in scope, and ideally the board will rarely have to delve into the district's day-to-day operations. The reporting of building level matters to the board will generally be left at the discretion of the superintendent. Again, MASB's recommendations and clarifications on our different roles here. So while it's a common conception that this is how districts run, what we've just seen here is a good reminder this is in fact not how the district is run. Board members should view themselves outside of the district chain. Again, I'm citing MASB here. Outside of the district chain of command rather than at its apex. Once the top of the chain, the superintendent, has been reached without satisfactory resolution, board policy usually dictates that the individual can then bring the matter to the board, but as more of an appeal mechanism. Boards are encouraged to review the decision of the superintendent as to whether or not it followed existing policies or procedures in order to achieve an acceptable outcome, not substitute its own judgment for that of the superintendent. So instead of understanding the work of the Board of Education like this, we ought to remind ourselves that it's more like this. It's more like this. We set the parameters, the superintendent implements those policies, and then the Board of Education works with the superintendent to make sure that those policies are implemented in a way that, again, supports our mission, vision, and strategic goals. So, this arrangement means that Board of Trustees have the ability to increase student achievement through very specific practices. Or, I guess on the flip side, if trustees abuse or circumvent the process and arrangement, this can actually, and I'm citing research here, harm student achievement. We know that fully functioning, well-oiled boards can contribute to student success. And if you aren't, that harms student achievement. There's lots of research on that, and some of it's cited here. And again, if we circumvent the process, we go into each other's lanes, not only can it harm student achievement, but as many districts around the country are finding out in these first couple weeks of a new year, cost the district thousands of dollars, lawyers' fees. So how to be effective? So now we're taking a look at some of the research here. So the Center for Public Education, the National Association for School Boards. These are long quotes. Bear with me. So based on the studies included in this report, it is clear that school boards in high-achieving districts hold a high, shared vision about the capabilities of both students and staff. They believe that more is possible and are motivated to improve results for students. They are policy and accountability driven, focusing their time and energy on governance-level actions related to student achievement and classroom instruction. They engage in goal-setting processes that can drive action in the district to improve. They align resources, including staff professional development, around these goals. They are data savvy, using data to both diagnose problems and to monitor and drive continuous improvement efforts. They communicate with and engage staff and community and work well together as a team and in collaborative leadership with superintendents. And they commit to their own learning, building the knowledge and skills it takes to govern during a period of educational reform. So again, National Association of School Boards providing a little summary of the research about what it takes for a Board of Education to increase and influence student achievement. So what does that look like? Here's again a nice reminder for us, and we will be reaffirming our board norms later on in the evening. But here from the National Association of School Boards, the 8 traits of effective boards. Number 1, effective school boards commit to a vision of high expectations for student achievement and quality instruction and define clear goals towards that vision. That's something we've done very explicitly over these last 2 years and have focused a lot of time and effort on. So, effective school boards also have strong shared beliefs and values about what is possible for students and their ability to learn, and of the system and its ability to teach all children at high levels. Thirdly, effective school boards are accountability-driven, spending less time on operational issues and more time focused on policies to improve student achievement. Effective school boards have a collaborative relationship with staff and the community and establish strong communication structure to inform and engage both internal and external stakeholders in setting and achieving district goals. Further, effective boards are data savvy. They embrace and monitor data, even when the information is negative, and use it to drive continuous improvement. And I think the last 2 years, our board and administrative colleagues has done a really terrific job in meeting and executing this trait here. Moreover, effective school boards align and sustain resources such as professional development to meet district goals. Again, what is the work of our strategic plan? We have goals, and it's our responsibility to make sure that those goals have the resources, and the people who are working towards those goals have the resources they need. Effective school boards lead as a united team with the superintendent, each from their respective roles with strong collaboration and mutual trust. Again, when we're up here on the board, sometimes, there might be disagreement. And this is good, this is productive. And sometimes when we have to give and take, when we give, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a failure. That's a sign of a strong team. Lastly, effective school boards take part in team development and training, sometimes with their superintendents to build shared knowledge, values, and commitments for their improvement efforts. So this is why over the last couple of years, we've spent a lot of time with our friends over at MASB to make sure that our processes, procedures, superintendent evaluation are neat and tidy. So we've sort of moved from law down to policies. We're talking about the role of the board. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like here in the Waterford School District. So what's the typical process for how something comes in front of us and how we vote on this and how that proposal's sharpened? So the superintendent and their team have discussions about some issue the board needs, that the administration needs board approval. This could be purchases, curriculum, mundane things like, food. Whatever the administration needs, from big to small, if it needs board action, the superintendent and the team, they talk about it. Sometimes the superintendent will ask the board president to pull members, so sometimes it's president's role to reach out and say, hey, the superintendent needs some feedback about these wonderful coffee machines that we're going to be putting in the secondary buildings. President will take that feedback, give it back to the superintendent. Superintendent takes that back to their team. That proposal is refined, and that proposal comes forth to us in one of two places, either a committee of the whole meeting. So if this is a kind of high-level policy or proposal related to visioning and strategy, this is a moment where that might come in front of us at a committee of the whole meeting, because it's 2 hours for us to talk and to hone and to learn and to ask questions. If it's something sort of moving from 50,000 to maybe 10,000 feet, that might come to us as an information item at a business meeting. Again, we're going to have time to ask questions, gather resources, learn about what that proposal might mean. Through those moments, again, the proposal's refined. If there's a need to, the board president or the superintendent might reach back out to members for more information. And again, that feedback is given back to the superintendent's team. It's further refined. And a final proposal is then brought forth for action at a regular business meeting. So for those of you following along at home, our regular business meeting is our second meeting of the month, and this is where we take action on things. So we vote. And we vote, and then the administration implements. So understanding, thanks, don't remind you, there's the process. So we point to the process because at several key junctures are there moments for the board to offer feedback, to learn, and several important moments for the superintendent and their team to make sure that whatever board policy or resolution that's coming forth is one that is really serving our strategic goals, mission, and vision. Colleagues, questions about the process? And again, maybe to make a distinction, our committee of the whole meetings too are held at Crary. They are 2 hours where we just are dedicated to learning, to asking questions. That's really where we get to focus on how can we invest and make sure our resources are supporting our strategic plan. So understanding the difference between those two meetings is important as well. So some important practices for us to keep in mind here too. Because we're not always together. If a member asks for information related to a board resolution, policy, or strategic plan goal, if one member asks, more often than not, 99% of the time, that information will be shared with everyone to ensure that everyone has equal access to information, right? So if I want, it's different. If someone wants the football schedule, that's different. But if we need data around some sort of bond proposal, millage, well, that information is going to make sure that it makes it into the inbox or the hands of every board member, just to make sure that everyone always has equal access to information. Confidentiality. So we know that when we move to closed session, and the board is sometimes privy to confidential information, and we know that we have to take that responsibility seriously, not only because it violates the law, but because it also erodes trust. We know, too, that MASB has some best practices when it comes to social media. So MASB advises that board members always amplify district content without providing commentary, because more often than not, that commentary can muddy the waters. We have a strategic plan. We have a really terrific community engagement and communications person, and we trust our strategic plan, the superintendent and their team, to spearhead many of those communications. We also know, too, that members should never provide directives to district employees other than the superintendent. It is not the board's role to provide performance feedback or any directives to any staff member. The superintendent is the board's employee, and everything should always be funneled through them. Even if we're asking a question to to the superintendent's cabinet, let's make sure that we're always CCing the superintendent on that communication as well. Number 5 here, understanding that the board speaks through its minutes. No individual speaks for the board. So if anyone is ever interested, where does the board stand on this? We're going to look to its minutes and we're going to look to its votes. 7 people up here, highly motivated, highly engaged. We're not always going to agree on a particular approach, issue, and that's why it's important to understand that no one person speaks for the board. 2, and this is hard to do, we always need to make sure that we're being mindful of the superintendent's time and focus. We have a strategic plan. This is where we've provided lots of input. We meet with him at the beginning of the year to set goals. And there's seven of us, and if we spend each of us an hour with him on the phone a week, we're coming up on almost a quarter of his time, of his 40-hour work week. So we want to make sure that we give the superintendent the time and latitude to be able to implement that strategic plan. So the results. So we've outlined here. There are plenty of opportunities to listen, ask questions, and gain answers. Board members and administration can collaborate and build trust. Again, these 8 characteristics are policies. They allowed the board to stay focused on its mission and the role and recognize the expertise of district staff and leadership. An important thing that I know all of us value is that there are no surprises when it comes to voting. Because we have a process, when it comes to voting time, we should know where everyone's at and we should understand the ins and outs and nuances of those proposals. 2, there are no soapboxes, monologues, because the process facilitates consensus. Again, when we get up here, it should be a common practice for all of us to have unanimous votes because we've worked through the process. And at the end of the day, and most importantly here, student achievement remains the focus. If anything, we're modeling a mode of inquiry and a way of learning that's important for us to model for our students and staff. So we represent our community not by creating the conditions for a thriving school district and behaving in ways that honor the work of our staff and students. At the end of the day, that's what our community wants, a great school district. And it's our job up here as the board, as a great reminder to know how we do that. We set the parameters. We give the resources. Last couple slides here. Why does this matter? The first ever testing of the relationship between the NSBA key work of school boards to those 8 traits of effective school boards. Why does this all matter? Because the outcome provides evidence supporting the use of these practices by school boards in Wisconsin. Notably, none of the models showed a negative relationship. And they likely yield academic gains for boards comprised of long-serving and smart board members and no negative academic consequences. These 8 characteristics, these 8 practices, these 8 things to bear in mind give us what we need to make sure that we're influencing student achievement. A little more research here. The evidence presented suggests public governing boards can improve their performance by focusing on strategic planning, openness and accountability with and between board members, partnership with the government executive, the superintendent, honesty, community input, board development, and member stability over time. In short, Board of Education set the tone and create the conditions for gainful and rewarding work, robust and meaningful learning, and lasting community pride. At the end of the day, this is a team committed to decorum, respect, and student achievement. This is always about problem solving, not partisanship. I'll end with last 2 here. And I know I've used this quote several times, but I think it encapsulates so nicely the role of boards. So a leader is anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in people and processes and who has the courage to develop that potential. And that's Brene Brown from Dare to Lead. So if anything, if we ever need that reminder of what's the work of a school board, I think that's it. Again, we're a big institution, a big organization, and there are always going to be problems. But our job is not to fetishize those problems and to obsess about the problems, but to focus on the good until the crowds the bad stuff out. So, quick note, you have a folder in front of you. I know I talked about it a little earlier. Megan put this together for us. So a couple things. We have the strategic plan in there as a reference. I know that I'll be hauling mine to all of our meetings. So bear that in mind. We have the strategic plan. We have a slideshow that Ms. Roberts put together. And this includes things like our board norms, our contact information, the contact information for our superintendent's cabinet, links to our policies, the superintendent's evaluation cycle. So you'll notice on this graphic, this has all the important dates when you can expect to hear from the board president, when we will have both our informal and formal check-ins. So everything is laid out here for the upcoming year. What else do we have here? And a couple of reminders, a couple of the same sources that I pointed to in this slideshow here. Two in the left pocket, we have a couple resources related to Robert's Rules. So I know that it's always an ongoing conversation on the board about how to best chair these meetings and how to really stay focused on what we need to stay focused on. So we have a couple resources here to make sure that we do that. So I hope in the year ahead, we continue this ongoing professional work and really focus on being neat, tidy, and effective, because that's what we need to do for our community and for our students. So, colleagues, thank you for listening. Do we have any questions, any clarification? Do you need any other resources? Yeah, remember Patricia?
Where was this 25 years ago? This could have saved me some time. Megan, you're probably the only one that's been around that long, now that John's gone, so I'm blaming you. I could have used this. It would have saved me a lot of years. Not that I would have listened, but it would have helped. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Any other comments, questions? Anyone need anything? Yes, Member Sutherland.
Thank you, Dr. Ristich. I just want to thank you personally for the incredible amount of work that went into this. Your leadership is exemplary, and we are a better board because of it. I know that when I first joined the board, someone told me a board is a new board whenever one person changes. This is an entirely new board, even though some of us have been here, because the dynamics change, the way that we work together, we have new relationships that we're building, trust that we're building. It's so wonderful to be able to review all of these goals, initiatives, policies, procedures, and our working relationship as a reminder to all of us, and kind of gear us into the onward and upward mode. We've got some great synergy going, some great things happening in our district, and the board needs to, stay focused on that positive perspective. And so I love that we have this reminder. I love that we have this in front of us, and I just want to thank you for your vision and for putting us in this place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Treasurer Sutherland. Okay. Guys, feel good? Okay.
Where were you back in 1998? What grade were you in?
I was a freshman or sophomore.
Okay. I'll let you slide that.
Thanks. All right, colleagues, thank you so much. Again, and I appreciate everyone's work, certainly for those of us who've been here a little while, but I'm really excited to welcome Member Torres, Member Donahue, Member Torres back, Member Donahue aboard, and Mr. Petrucia, of course, still. Exciting stuff. And again, when we talk about our organizational work, our mission, our vision, we can look at the districts around us right now who are really struggling with that. And I really want to make sure that we continue this work so that we're a model for our neighboring districts, because there's a lot of really great stuff happening in the Waterford district. Okay, excellent. Thank you, colleagues. All right, we are now going to move on to the election of officers. So, colleagues, we will now accept nominations for the office of president. Yes, Member Sutherland.
I would like to nominate you, Dr. Ristich, for the office of president.
Second.
First, I need to see if there are any other nominations. Okay, excellent. All right, so all those in favor of Member Ristich for president, please signify by raising your hand. Excellent, thank you. The motion carries 7-0. All right. 7-0, I know.
Hear that again.
All right, excellent. Thank you, everyone. So, colleagues, we will now accept nominations for the office of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Kristen Wagner for vice president.
Second.
First, are there any other nominations for vice president? Okay, excellent. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of Member Wagner serving as vice president, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, Member Wagner. Okay, we will now accept nominations for the office of secretary. Colleagues, I would like to nominate Member Joslin for the role of secretary.
Support. I'm fast.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Congratulations, Member Joslin. Colleagues, we will now accept nominations for the office of treasurer. Yes, Member
I would
Patricia.
like to nominate Joan Sutherland.
Excellent.
Support.
Colleagues, all those in favor of Member Sutherland serving as treasurer, please signify by raising your hand. Excellent. Congratulations, Treasurer Sutherland. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We now have, we've elected officers for the year. Let's now move on to our Board of Education appointments. So, colleagues, the board is seeking appointments to various committees as listed in the packet and as Ms. Roberts sent out earlier in the week. So let's move on first to Oakland Schools. So the previous representative was Member Sutherland, with Member Wagner serving as alternate. Member Sutherland, would you like to continue with this committee?
I would be happy to, but I'm also happy if there's someone else that was interested. But I'm happy to keep doing it. Yeah.
Thank you. Member Wagner, are you interested in serving as alternate?
Sure, I can maintain that.
Is there anyone else who'd like to serve as alternate? Okay. Thank you, Member Sutherland and Member Wagner, for your service here. Okay. Colleagues, moving on now to the Oakland County School Board Association Government Relations Committee. The previous representative was Member Wagner, with Member Sutherland and Ristich serving as alternate. Member Wagner, would you like to continue as representative?
I would be happy to continue.
Alternates?
I'll take alternate.
Okay. We'll have Member Wagner as our representative and Member Torres as our alternate. Okay, thank you. Was there a reason we had two alternates last year?
I think it was just a concern over
Scheduling.
scheduling. That's what it was, scheduling.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, let's now move on to the Waterford Township Rec Board. So the previous representative was Member Patricia, with Member Sutherland serving as alternate. Member Patricia, would you be interested in continuing with this committee?
Yes, I would.
Member Sutherland, you served as alternate. Would you prefer continue as alternate?
I'm happy to, but also happy if there's someone else that was interested, if they would like to.
Is there anyone else who would like to serve as alternate? Mr. Donahue, what about,
I can.
Ken?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure when I was supposed to speak up. So, absolutely, yeah.
After your first year.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
All right, so what that would mean is if Mr. Patricia can't make it to those meetings, he would just reach out to you and let you know, and you would fill in for his stead.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, colleagues, we're now moving on to our Hess Hathaway Advisory Board. So in the past, last year was Member Hemmelspa, with Member Patricia serving as alternate. We have something to discuss here. We know that Mr. Hemmelspa did offer to serve as a representative for the board. But that is, of course, board business, so we can talk about whether we want Mr. Hemmelsbach to continue on as the board's primary representative, or to serve as an alternate, or to appoint 2 members from our board. So I want to open that up for conversation.
I did serve on the Hess Hathaway Advisory Board, but I'm happy to serve as an alternate if Mr. Himmelsbach wants to be the actual representative. I know he's pretty passionate about that position.
Are we okay with having Mr. Hemmelsbach? Mr. Hemmelsbach did, again, he offered to continue to work as the board's representative on the Hess Hathaway Board, which is something we can certainly do. We would expect then Mr. Hemmelsbach to provide all necessary updates.
In talking with the township, the rec people, they enjoyed having him on there. He was very helpful, he was cooking the pancake, he did a very nice job.
He's everywhere.
Again, so it was one of them things, again, we do have a policy of it's a board member, but if someone doesn't want to, again, I enjoy having them fill in, again, I no longer want to be the alternate, so if John Paul could help out that, and however that would work, so that's just me.
Members, are we okay with this?
I'm okay with that.
Fine. Okay. Okay, so we will, Mr. Roberts, is that? Okay. All right. So we will reach out to Mr. John Hemmelsbach and let him know that he will continue his good work there on behalf of the school district. Okay, thank you, colleagues. We're now moving on to Waterford Youth Assistant. So, of course, we've had the very active member Jocelyn serving in this role, with member Patricia serving as alternate. Member Jocelyn, are you interested in carrying on that work?
Yeah, I enjoy being on that.
Okay. All right. Member Patricia, are you interested in serving as alternate, or would there?
If someone else wants it, is that winding down?
I think you're keeping it.
I'm happy to take alternate. Julie, I know you've done an incredible job, so I would need some updating on what's involved and, if I needed to represent us.
That'd be fine. I didn't miss many meetings. I was sick for one, that was kind of a last minute, I think I'm gonna make it. And then the other one, I ran late at work, so that was last minute, so, I'm usually there. So.
It's amazing work that they do, and
Yes.
I'm happy to support it and would love to be part of it.
Joan,
so.
I'd like to take my name off that one.
Okay. Okay. Head Start Policy Committee, so the previous representative was member Hemmelsbach, with member Sutherland serving as alternate. Is there an interest in appointment to this committee, colleagues? And this meets Fridays at 1. Is it monthly?
Is it monthly or bi-monthly?
Usually monthly. And it's a 1 o'clock meeting, and you can only do it for up to 5 years, and I've exceeded that time, so I'm not able to. They fed you, so I really enjoyed that one.
I would be happy to be the alternate if someone else could take on being the representative, just with my work schedule, but I could, if in advance, I would definitely be able to make a 1 o'clock.
How long are those meetings usually?
Depending on, they didn't always have a quorum, so it could be upwards of an hour possibly.
They're in person, the meetings?
In person, yes.
Okay.
Where are they?
At Stefanski.
I would be happy to work with Kristen. Maybe we can divide and conquer on this, because oftentimes I'm not available on Friday, but if I know ahead of time, maybe we can work it out. We do 6 months. We kind of split the.
Yeah, I'd be
Would that-
willing to
would
do that.
that work?
Sure.
I'd be willing to help there too.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay,
Just
why don't
between
we put the
three
three
us.
of our names in there, and then we'll work that representation out. That would be great.
I can usually make that swing, but again, it's hard to tell, so maybe
Right.
between the three of us.
Right.
I enjoyed it, again, it was close to work, so it worked out real well, but I've already put in my time, and they won't let me stay.
Okay, colleagues, thank you. Last but not least, we're moving on to the Drayton Plains Nature Center. So the previous representative was member Ristich, with member Joslin serving as alternate, and I'm more than happy to continue to serve in that role. And member Donahue,
Yes, I would like to be the alternate.
would you like to be the lead representative?
Sure. If you're, yeah, I will, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Um, Yeah, I'll do an alternate for that, for the nature center, yep.
I'm more than happy to also serve as an alternate. I've served on that one for the last 2 years,
Okay.
so I'll just put both this down. Okay, so Representative Donahue, Torres. Okay, excellent. I think we did it. All right, so thank you, everyone. This is important work. Again, this gives us a chance to get out there, talk about all the great things happening in the Waterford School District, as well as help with some really important work. These committees are all really important, every single one, so really exciting opportunities here, and thank you, everyone, for your work. All right. Colleagues, moving on now to our Board of Education operating norms. So everyone has that in their packet. It's also in the folder that Megan supplied, so I know many of us are familiar with this, but if you want to take a quick minute to review those. And in the spirit of the meeting, I'm going to go ahead and so I move that the Board of Education reaffirm the operating norms previously adopted by the Board of Education. And I'm going to read those really quick for our listening audience. So, it is recommended that the Board of Education reaffirm the following operating norms previously adopted by the board. So we will speak with one voice once decisions are made. We will serve as the community's eyes and ears and communicate information that may not be well known to the administration in the form of a non-directive heads up. We will be visible in the community. We will ask questions and be willing to learn. We will be prepared. We will govern in an atmosphere that encourages and respects free expressions of opinions and ideas, whether in the minority or majority. We will not surprise one another. We will admit what we don't know. We will always keep our minds open to change. We will remain responsible to all students and members of the community. We will communicate openly, honestly, and constructively. We will maintain confidentiality. We will model civility. We will demonstrate a clear distinction between the roles of the board and the administration. We will speak as one voice, not as individuals, when giving direction to the superintendent. We will, as individuals, not direct actions or request information that requires significant amounts of additional work or time from the superintendent or staff. We will actively listen to complaints or concerns regarding district activities and then advise the individual on how best to proceed. We will communicate officially with the staff through the superintendent as much as possible. We will delegate to the superintendent responsibility for all administrative functions except those specifically reserved to the board through board policy. So colleagues, I've moved. Is there any support?
Support.
Support.
Thank you. So the motion has been moved and supported. Comments or questions, colleagues?
Question.
Member Petruccia.
Admit what we don't know. What if I don't know that I don't know it? I really think that I know it. How do I admit that that you're all wrong and I'm the only one that knows it? How does that work?
We'll keep you in check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you just remind me, so again, I might not be able to do it at the meeting until after I've been convinced. So it's one of these things that's kind of a gray area. I think I know it.
Other comments or questions, colleagues? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. Our board operating norms have been approved 7-0. Colleagues, moving on now to our 2023-2024 board meeting schedule. So everyone has that in their packet. I'm going to take a look. So we have our committee of the whole meetings and our regular meetings. Reminder, our meetings are at 6:30. Our committee of the whole meetings take place at Crary, the Kurzman Administrative Building, and our regular meetings take place here. So I move that the Waterford School District Board of Education regular meetings and committee of the whole meetings for the 2023-2024 school year be scheduled per the list provided at 6:30 p.m. Regular meetings are held at the Waterford Township Hall Auditorium, 5200 Civic Center Drive, Waterford, Michigan, unless posted otherwise. The Committee of the Whole meetings are held at the Kurzman Administration Services at the Prairie Campus, 501 North Cass Lake Road, Waterford, Michigan, unless posted otherwise. So colleagues, I've moved it. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those colleagues, comments or questions?
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know we have new board members. I just want to make sure that the 6:30 timeframe, this is our meeting, and make sure that that is appropriate for you and works for you, because I know we've had some concerns before, and it's our meeting. So before we approve this, I just want to make sure that that 6:30 time slot works for your work schedules and so forth.
Good.
Thank you.
The January 4th meeting, School Board Appreciation Month. We're canceling one of our meetings that we get toys and good things, and it's really cool, and I can't carry home all my stuff. But it's on a Thursday. I mean, it's not over break or anything. Why do we cancel?
It is over break?
It is over.
Oh, it is? For the whole? It carries over? Never mind.
Okay. Other comments or questions, colleagues? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Excellent. Motion carries 7-0. All right. Excellent. So colleagues, we're now moving on to our consent agenda. So it's in your packet. This is the consent agenda, which includes our minutes from the December 15th meeting, our accounts payable, our financial statements, support staff, reports, and our resignations. So colleagues, unless there are any objections this evening, tonight's consent agenda is approved as presented. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, colleagues. Colleagues, we're now going to move on to some new business. So we're going to turn this over to Secretary Joslin relative to CTE month resolution.
I know why nobody wanted to be secretary. Superintendent's recommendation 52-22-23, resolution CTE month. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following resolution proclaiming February 2023 as Career and Technical Education Month. Whereas Career and Technical Education prepares students at the secondary and post-secondary levels to have the academic, technical, and work behavior skills to enter, compete, and advance in education and throughout their careers. And whereas Career and Technical Education offers a diverse delivery system that provides students with leadership opportunities in various career fields, allowing for the rigorous and relevant application of workplace skills while incorporating reading, writing, and mathematics. Whereas Career and Technical Education serves as a career and college-ready connection and is the foundation of a strong and well-educated workforce. And whereas Career and Technical Education offers students opportunities to earn college credit, industry certification, and licenses in high-wage, high-skill, and in-demand fields, as aligned with Michigan's strategic education plan to expand secondary learning opportunities for all students and increase the percentage of adults with a post-secondary credential. And whereas during this month, the Waterford School District Board of Education encourages youths and adults in Waterford to be ambassadors for career and technical education, and to send the message that Waterford career and technical education students are prepared for the 21st century, high-wage, high-skilled, and in-demand jobs, a key component in making Michigan a top 10 education state. Now, therefore, the Waterford Board of Education does hereby proclaim February 2023 as Career and Technical Education Month in Waterford School District. I so move.
Support.
Thank you. Our motion for about CTE month and awareness has been moved and supported. Are there comments or questions? Yes, Member Sutherland.
I don't remember seeing anything of this magnitude in front of us before for CTE, and I am thrilled, delighted, over the moon to see it in print, to see us proclaiming it loud and proud. We do not do enough as a state, as a nation, for career and technical education. There was a focus for far too long, in my estimation, on everything. Everybody had to go to college, and that's simply not the case. There are so many amazing, amazing careers, amazing people that our communities need, our homes need, our nation needs to have a diverse workforce. And I think this is stellar. I couldn't support this more wholeheartedly. So thank you for bringing this to us. I'm not sure how this ended up here, but it's awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Sutherland. Other comments or questions?
Just want to, again, reiterate, I feel the same, exploring those educational opportunities outside the four-year academic institutions, universities. I want to recognize my nephew here, 2016 Waterford Mott graduate. He's also an electrical apprentice. Probably in about a few more years, he's going to be making more money than me. But I'm very proud of him because he didn't go to the four-year institution, but went on to do hands-on work, and he's thriving in it. Thank you.
Shocking.
Yep.
Thank you, Member Torres. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion carries 7-0. Okay. Secretary Joslin.
Superintendent's Recommendation 53-22-23, Resolution, National School Counselor Week. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following resolution proclaiming February 6th through the 10th, 2023 as National School Counseling Week. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Therefore, the Waterford Board of Education does hereby proclaim February 6th through the 10th, 2023 as National School Counseling Week. I so move.
Support.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and supported. Comments or questions?
I just, shout out to all of our school counselors. I mean, you guys have a rough job. You're a friend. You monitor their, educational path. Sometimes you're the disciplinarian. You're a whole bunch of things. And, you have a really rough job. And in my opinion, you don't get paid a lot for doing it. So, what a great week to have this. This is my birth week. So, good job, everybody. Thank you very much.
My sons went to middle school day today. They were over at Pierce, and first thing they told me when I got home was, "Dad, we met the counselors." So, pretty exciting when they learned what all of our counselors do, and we know that we've got lots of exciting initiatives with our counselors, and again, big shout out to our counseling staff, our students, and families really appreciate them, so thank you. Other comments or questions, colleagues? All right. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Excellent. Motion carries 7-0. All right, colleagues, that takes us through new business. So we're now going to move on to our public comments on non-action items. So I have a couple of green cards. So I'll call out the names of the people on the green cards. Before we do that, a couple reminders. If we would please remember that we limit our comments to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public are invited to share comments. However, this is not intended to be a time for question and answers. Lastly, participants may speak only once on the same topic and are, of course, asked to avoid statements that are personally directed, abusive, or obscene. So we're first going to invite up to the podium here Jennifer Romanchuk. Romanchuk, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Welcome, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. I am a parent of 2 children in the district, and I know all of you have gotten an email from me this week. My almost 14-year-old beautiful black daughter was adopted by us in 2019. We were excited to put her, very nervous. After moving in with us at 9 years old in 2018. We were excited to put her in Waterford School District with the increasing diversity within the district and its staff. I'm also a proud Waterford graduate. Last week, the parents of the girls on the middle school United Cheer team received an email and a letter regarding the use of a racial slur, the N-word, within a Snapchat by students and students outside of Waterford. The student who used the N-word was allowed to continue to participate in cheer despite the use of a racial slur. Our children signed contracts as part of joining the team that included high behavioral expectations, including on social media, and the consequences listed as immediate dismissal from the team. The student was not asked to leave the team. She was given a free pass because she didn't know better, and everyone needs to learn, what I've been told. So are you giving free passes consistently, or are you holding student athletes accountable for their actions consistently? All we are asking for is equity. Our historical interactions with the district have led to a constant distrust that our minority students will not, we're worried that they're not treated equitably. No 2 students have the same needs, but all of them deserve an appropriate education and extracurricular activities where they feel safe and loved. My child has seen that adults are not consistent and do not follow through to provide a safe environment. From her removal from her birth home and her time in foster care to the 4 different schools she attended before coming to Waterford. Fast forward to last week when students told adults and administrators what was happening and nothing happened. Now she is supposed to feel comfortable continuing to tell adults when a child continues to use the N-word, but why would she? In the Equity Collaborative report from 2021, a common theme was that students do not trust the adults to take action against racial slurs and hate speech. Earlier in 2021, our daughter had an incident where she was suspended for 3 days, and a white male student received a 1-day suspension for the same situation. At the time, she was brought into the assistant principal's office where she had a police officer tell her it would be better if you told the truth, and stood behind her while she told the truth. We were assured policies would be reviewed and that things would change. What has changed? I have seen updates in job descriptions. I have seen new administration at Mason, and we are very, very, very thankful for those very welcome changes. However, incidents like the racial slur continue to happen, and the parents that have experienced it like me feel like it's not continuing to be addressed until we start to make noise. So I will continue to be here, maybe sometimes quiet, but still working to make a change to benefit all the children who attend Waterford schools.
Thank you, Ms. Romanchuk. We appreciate you being here and for sharing that, and thank you. And I know that our administrative staff will most likely follow up, so thank you. We appreciate you being here. Okay, excellent. Let's now move on to Ms. Liz Kidwell. Ms. Kidwell.
Okay, bear with me. Okay, my name is Liz Kidwell. My son is a student at Pierce Middle School. What took place on December 21st was absolutely terrifying. But for me, the response to this tragedy was even more concerning. There had been an email sent out that day to all the parents from the school, but it was extremely vague. It was misleading and it wasn't clear. It insinuated that a BB gun was found in school, but everyone who seemed to read it was very confused. My phone started to blow up with other concerned Pierce parents. We were all alarmed and panicking. Were our kids in lockdown? Were they investigated? What took place that day? I immediately emailed our superintendent for clarification on this matter. Within minutes, my phone rang, and it was Mr. Lindbergh calling to discuss my concerns. He told me what had happened, that a gun was seen by another student. It was believed to be a BB gun, but when they arrived at the locker, it was a loaded 9mm handgun. I expressed to him how this absolutely scared me to death. How did this gun make it into the school? He assured me that there was never a threat to anyone in the school. A lockdown was never warranted because they never saw the situation as a real threat, and it was under control the whole time. But to me, a loaded gun or even a BB gun inside that building is a real threat. And until they knew for sure, the kids should have been put in lockdown. I continued asking questions. What plans do you have in place to prevent this from happening again? Have you considered the clear backpacks or backpack searches upon arrival? I was told, and I quote, "I am not running a prison system here. Lots of talks about those kinds of things, but in truth, bad kids are always going to find a way to do bad things." Our security system worked flawlessly today. Someone saw something and said something. Today is a win. No, it was not a win. If it was a win, the gun would have never made it into the building. And yeah, there are a lot of bad kids, but we need to make it more difficult for those bad kids to do those bad things. We go through security all the time in today's world. Concerts, sporting events, airports, government buildings. Why should schools be any different than those venues? Why should our kids, teachers, and support staff not be protected from bad people? I know that many other districts in the area have various security protocols in place in their buildings. See something, say something is not enough anymore. Brandon Township has been doing daily backpack and lunch bag searches since the Oxford situation. This week, they're installing metal detectors in the middle schools and high schools. It seems like something that maybe we should be looking into. This is a different world that we live in. Mass shootings are happening over and over again. Our kids and teachers deserve to be protected at all costs. No more talking about it. I would like to see some action from the Waterford school district to do more when it comes to these types of gun threats. December 21st was a fail. The high-ranking security protocols did not work. We just got lucky that this incident did not end in tragedy. And I plead with the school district and the superintendent to do more and to do better. Time to change with the scary times that we live in. Please consider adding more realistic security measures in our buildings to protect our kids and teachers. And then, just as a side note, because I'm not a research person, but the metal detectors that they are installing, okay, I'm almost done, in Brandon are reasonable, and they're portable, so you can use them from your front door to go through them, and then take them out to the football fields and have them walk through them for sporting events. It's just something, we need more. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Cabral. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kidwell. Ms. Romachek, Ms. Truck. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? Okay, excellent. Again, thank you both for being here and for your comments this evening. Okay, colleagues, we're now going to move on to Board of Education reports. So, colleagues, moving on now. Does anyone have a Board of Education report? Member Joslin.
I brought all my notes this time. So we had a youth assistance meeting last night. One sad thing that I do have to report, youth assistants, they have decided that they are no longer going to offer the Mentors Plus program. They have put that on suspension. Julie Stitt, who's been in charge of that over at Youth Assistance for a long time, is retiring, as she should, because she's done a phenomenal job. So she'll be leaving in February, and as of right now, it's just under, they're just suspending it, so we don't know if they're gonna go forward with it or what's gonna happen. Okay. So then, this Saturday, we have the Winter World of Love and Kindness. So that's this Saturday. It starts at 10 o'clock. This is sponsored by On a Dragon's Fly Wings, Waterford Youth Assistance, and Waterford Parks and Rec. So they have all kinds of cool stuff for the kids to do. It's a free family event. It focuses on mental health, and it's for all kids in our community, ages 5 and up. They are going to have a worry box, origami, kindness rock painting, calming glitter jars, which I saw last year. It turned out really, really cool. They have a gratitude wall. They were playing music and stuff in there last year. And of course, we will be returning with our slime table. So anybody that, you know, if you're wondering what you're gonna do with the kids this weekend, Saturday, 10 o'clock, go show up. It's gonna be a great event. We have tons of people volunteering, and it'll be great for the whole family. They are Waterford Police Department. They're gonna do the shoplifting awareness program in February this year. I believe they're doing, I don't know, I was writing something, but I believe they're doing 6th and 7th grade because one of the grades missed it last year because of COVID. So they're gonna do that. On April 1st, they're gonna do game night. So they're gonna have a euchre tournament. You can check their website, or I'm sure it'll be going out on Blast, which will be really fun. And Youth Recognition Night is gonna be April 26th. So I want all of you to start thinking about kids in the community that really deserve some recognition. My first year on the school board, when I sat on the youth assistants, on their board, they had it at Kettering. And the place was packed, and the kids got all kinds of cool stuff. They got swag, they got certificates, they all dressed up. It was such a great event. And then, of course, COVID hit. So the last 2 years, we kind of been doing a drive-through and everything else, and we want to get it back to what it used to be. So we need teachers, counselors, community members, all those kids out there that do, you know, deserve an award because they're helping in the community. They're doing a great job. We're gonna start asking for names here pretty quick. And that will be on April 26th. And the only other thing you can mark your calendar for is sheep shearing on April 29th, which I did not make it to last year, but I heard it was like really fun. I thought it would be kind of
So fun.
gross and smelly, but but I heard that it was a blast and they had a really good time. And Hannah's in charge of our camp and youth enrichment program, and she brought all of her fellow softball players over there, and they ran it, and I guess everybody had a blast. So I'll remind everybody as we get closer to that, but the Hess Hathaway sheep shearing is April 29th.
Yeah, great event, great event. To watch the shearers wrestle those sheep is quite
Really?
the sight to behold, yeah. Thank you, Member Joslin. Other board reports this evening? Yeah, Member Petrucia.
I want to welcome back John Paul and Pat. Welcome to the board. And correct a misstatement. I think I've said this before. People talk about how you only live once. I'm going to jump out of a plane because you only live once. You don't go to Hawaii because you only live once. You live every day. You only die once. So if you have an opportunity to do something, do it. If you make a mistake on something, you have all these other days to fix it. So you only die once. So enjoy yourself.
Thank you for that reminder, Member Petrucia. Excellent. Member Wagner.
My voice is going, so bear with me. I first wanted to say thank you to all the schools and to our teachers and our students and our staff that my bags are all behind me, but that created all these wonderful, beautiful things for us. It's our honor to be here to serve you, and we appreciate the recognition, but truly we do this out of love for the district. But it's always super fun to see all the fun things that were made. And I have one of them hanging in my office from last year, and my Stepansky Award is like my most cherished award. But I wanted to just let everyone know, if you haven't been paying attention to the news recently, that the ballot initiative was pulled for the Let Michigan Kids Learn, which ultimately was a ballot that was not going to be supportive of public education and would have pulled an enormous amount of funding from us. They didn't even get through the signature count. They pulled it prior. It will not go before the legislature. It will not be a ballot proposal, hopefully ever. We've already voted it down before as a state, but that is a huge win for public education. That is no longer hanging over us. So if you hadn't seen the news yet, that is a huge thing to celebrate. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah, Member Sutherland.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ristich. I first want to echo your comments about School Board Appreciation Month, because it is our privilege, our honor to serve in this role. We recognize the work that stands before us, and when we have these sweet cards from these students and these drawings, I have a drawing here. This is me at my desk. I know you can't see it, but I'm like this big, and there's my beautiful desk. And I just think it's so heartwarming, first of all, but it also is a beautiful reminder of why we're here, to educate our students and to represent our community. So grateful to our schools and our staff and our students for the recognition for School Board Appreciation Month. And on that same note, I want to recognize all of my colleagues. It is a privilege and an honor to serve with you. Welcome back, Member Torres. Welcome, Pat. Welcome again. It is an honor to be on this team with you, and we look forward to continuing some great work that's been going on, onward and upward. So happy Appreciation Month. I think some people got a chance to see when we are signing all these different committees. These are things that we all do on our own time, and I'm in awe of the work that this board does. You know, you heard Member Jocelyn's report tonight on all the things that she's bringing back from representing the district with youth assistance, and it's that way with all of those committees, and it's that way with all of the emails and conversations and the work, for example, that you did in putting the presentation together. It is not just coming to meetings. It is a lot bigger than that, and I continue to be filled with gratitude for the work that each one of you put in to this role for the betterment of our community. So thank you. And then I do want to also extend a genuine, kind, wholehearted invitation to anyone who would like to come to the celebration of life for Heather Halls, our colleague who passed away in October. The celebration of life will be held this Sunday at 3 p.m. at Waterford Kettering High School, and you are welcome and invited to attend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Sutherland. The Board of Education reports. Member Torres.
It's good to be back in person. When I left the board in 2020, it was not a fun time. We were back and forth, in and out of school, in and back to virtual, non-virtual. So it's nice that I think my last year of school board meetings were all virtual. So it's nice to be back in person, shaking hands, talking to everybody, and doing it in a safe way. The School Board Recognition Month, it's always my favorite month of the year. In my previous term, and today was a nice reminder coming in here, seeing all the things. Yesterday, my daughter came home from school, and she said, Dad, me and my friends made you a surprise. And then I said, well, she says, it's for your recognition. And I said, you know, what? And then it hit me that it's School Board Recognition Month. So I have this card here that she made sure that I found in the pile of stuff that we have from all the kids that she and her friends in her class made. And I think, Juliana, you said you did the drawing, your friend did the coloring, and the other one did the writing. So it was teamwork right here. So I'm pretty proud of that piece. I want to take a minute just to congratulate my fellow school board members that were just reelected and elected to the term. It is a rewarding experience. It can be daunting, exhausting, but it is always rewarding. And I appreciate the opportunity to come back here and serve. I want to recognize my family. Several of them left. But my wife and my daughter here, my nephew Julian, who hung around, 2016 Waterford mock graduate. And I was looking over and doing the numbers, and I was kind of thinking, I said, you know, I was adding it up, and I may have missed a few. We have my 9th and 10th niece and nephew will be graduating Waterford schools. So that'll be 10 Torreses out of Waterford schools. And the next, my youngest is a freshman at Mott. The other is a junior at Mott. So we have those two left, and then, of course, the little one who was at Cooley in 3rd grade. So we'll be here at least until 2032. So, but I also want to thank, the people that helped me get back on the board, get reelected. Mr. Spees, a former educator here in the Waterford School District, his wife as well. Thank you for your help. I want to thank Robin McGregor, a former school board member. She ran for the State House of Representatives. We collaborated and worked together in our campaigns, but she was very integral in helping me in my campaign. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to be back here to collaborate with this group and to work towards that common goal for our students here in the Waterford School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Torres. Other Board of Education reports tonight. Member Donahue.
I think I'm the only one left at this point. So I just wanted to thank everyone for the warm welcome and for, again, just as John Paul was talking about, coming out to vote and being a part of the board and gaining your trust to be a part of the board. I had got high expectations with the gifts. My first meeting here and that, and so looking forward to every other meeting. I do love raspberry pie, just throwing that out there. But I really, truly do look forward to the next few years and the hard work to come, the hard choices to come. But once again, to make this a world-class district, and looking forward to working not only with my other board members, but also with the administrative staff at central office and in each of the buildings. Thank you.
Member Donahue. So really quick, I just wanted to give a big shout out to our middle school teams. As I said, my boys went to middle school day today, and we're just intrigued, engaged, excited at this whole thing called middle school. Mom and Dad are a little more nervous, but they're really excited, and especially orchestra. The orchestra petting zoo, big hit in the Ristich household. So. We'll probably be getting another job to support that habit. But also big shout out to our SAFE team, because we know that the highly renowned basketball league is about to kick off again. It's temperatures, it's high out there. People are excited about this, and so go Canutes and Foxes. Colleagues, just wanted to remind us too, I know it's not on our agenda tonight, but in February we will be going to a Waterford Board of Trustees meeting, and we'll reach out and talk more about that as we go, because I really would like this to be an opportunity for the board to share with our colleagues in the Township Board of Trustees so much of the wonderful things that are happening in the district. So I think it's going to be a really great time for our board to get in front of their board and to let them know just all the great initiatives, all the great work, all of our just highly engaged community, and all the great synergy and things that are happening here. So we'll talk more about that as we get there. But I think that's all I've got. Turn it over to Superintendent Lindberg.
Thank you, President Richards. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. I want you to save the date. We have the Waterford Foundation Annual Golf Outing. It's scheduled for Tuesday, June 20th. So it's a ways off, but June 20th. At Fountains, honoring foundation directors and founding fathers, Ron Arnold and Tim Patterson. This is the foundation's biggest fundraising event as they work to support teaching and learning in the Waterford schools. Stay tuned as more information will indeed follow. I'm excited to join Waterford Township Supervisor Gary Wall and Oakland Community College Chancellor Peter Provenzano in presenting the annual State of the Township on Wednesday, February 23rd. That will be at 7:30 in the morning at overtime. This is a great opportunity to share about all of the great things happening in our community. And congratulations once again to members Petrucia, Torres, and Donahue on being sworn in this evening. In addition, on behalf of the entire Waterford School District, I would like to extend sincere gratitude to all of the board members in honor of School Board Recognition Month. You are a voice for the community and, most importantly, our students. Your leadership and vision will continue to make a difference now and in the future. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Superintendent Lindberg. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you to everyone who provided us with these really wonderful gifts. They are much, much appreciated. We'll go in our offices It's a great reminder of all the importance of this job. So, colleagues, seeing no further business, tonight's meeting is adjourned.